I'm Judea Murray, and here on a positive note, we highlight the most heartwarming stories from all around our tri-state that move and inspire us. We're kicking things off with a story that does all of that and more. I take the train almost every day. I found all sorts of things in those stations over the years, none of which have I ever thought to bring home with me. But an author from New Jersey tells us the subway is where he found the best gift in the world, his son. Let's take a look.
I kind of get emotional all over again because I am back in the place and time.
About 20 years ago, when Pete Mercurio became a dad with his partner, Danny Stewart.
It just feels like this is a miraculous story.
Actually, it was a series of miracles. It started when Danny found a newborn in a New York City subway. Our Subway Baby is a children's book written by Pete, a graduate of Westwood High School and Montclair State. He says it's a direct address to their son, Kevin, now a college student. For so many couples, adoption is a grueling process that can take years. This one took a few months, mostly because a judge saw on the news how Danny found the baby and thought maybe they belonged together. She summoned him to court. Tiny miracle after tiny miracle.
The attorney that called him into court didn't have any of his contact information. She went through the white pages for a week, calling every Danny Stewart.
Do you remember the white pages?
Yeah,
I do.
She's not persistent in trying to find him. We're not parents.
As Pete writes, their story is about being open to life's possibilities, a message they hope resonates with kids and adults alike.
Prior to finding Kevin, the couple says they've only talked about having children once, and it was pretty casual. But finding their miracle baby turned all of that around. Today, they say they're so grateful for the opportunity to become parents. Now, last Sunday, most of us tuned in to the Oscars. The ceremony was extra special for two nominees with ties to our tri-state.
And the Academy Award for Best Documentary Short goes to Colette.
Anthony Giacchino of Brooklyn took home an Oscar for his emotional short film, Colette. It follows a 90-year-old former French resistance member as she revisits the German concentration camp where her brother was murdered.
Des charmeurs, des brillants. Fini.
Colette captured our hearts. And this next nomination favored Long Island with the first ever deaf and blind person to star in a feature film.
Robert Tarango is making history without saying a word. The Selden native stars in Feeling Through. It's the first Oscar-nominated short film to cast a deaf-blind actor in a lead role.
I never expected this to happen. Seriously, not in a million years, and it has been amazing. To think that we're going to the Oscars.
Tarango landed the role after a nationwide search led the filmmaker here to the Helen Keller National Center in Port Washington. The filmmaker discovered Tarango while he was washing dishes in the center's kitchen.
He started cracking jokes about being a movie star and just had this beautiful, warmth and charisma that very quickly signified that he would be a great fit for this film.
The 18-minute film is about a chance encounter between Tariq, a homeless teenager, and Tarango's character Artie, who is deaf and blind and needs help getting to a bus stop. Though they come from different worlds, the two men form a bond that changes Tariq's outlook on life. The producers and cast of Feeling Through hope the film does the same for audiences.
So it may be that it will open their mind and open their perspective about people who are deafblind. We celebrate, the talent of Robert.
What I hope that for other deafblind people is that they see me and realize they don't have to give up and they can do anything they want.
Before he lost his sight in his mid-30s, Tarango dreamed of being an actor. Now it's a dream come true.
Just by being there, I think it's an amazing accomplishment, and I think that it's going to be a moment in history where the world can see what a deafblind person can do.
Although Feeling Through didn't take home the Oscar, it's still a win regardless because Robert made history. Representation matters. Autism Acceptance Month may have come to a close, but the advocacy will never stop. In fact, this group in Rockland is devoted to creating equal opportunity. Let's check it out.
Oh, that's something I made in middle school for Brandon, a pillow.
Brandon Bourne is one of over 5 million adults living with autism in the United States.
I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest. I don't really feel different than anyone else. I drive a car, I live in my own apartment, and it's just wonderful. So here's a work of all my boxes.
He also works at Cambridge Security Seals in Pomona.
Every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
A job he says he loves.
There is no better employee than my son. I know that. He worked through the entire pandemic, was never late one time, never missed a day, didn't contract the virus.
I already got these ones done over here.
An accomplishment not many adults with autism achieve. Up to 85% of them are either unemployed or underemployed. One of the contributing factors, people with autism tend to have poor communication and social skills that make it tough to compete with other candidates during job interviews.
If the employees would just open up their doors and give them a chance.
Teresa Dos Santos is Director of Supported Employment at ARC of Rockland, which connects companies to the special needs workforce.
Very welcoming. They say that they, come in with a smile on their face. They look forward for them to come to work. They're reliable, dedicated.
Brandon is among the 80 individuals they helped place in jobs. He hopes sharing his story motivates more companies to open their hearts and their workforce.
Just give me a chance.
To people of all abilities.
Shouldn't judge before you get to know.
Mom and pops have been fighting hard against the pandemic to keep their businesses afloat, but what about our often forgotten players in the food world, street vendors? Sonia Perez has sold Mexican breakfast, tamales, and other authentic goodies in Bushwick for 20 years, but this last one took a toll on her business. She's been out of commission due to underlying health conditions, and most recently, her entire family came down with COVID. But Sonia stayed afloat because of the Street Vendor Project. The group started a GoFundMe to help her out. And just like that, $11,000 were raised to help Sonia pay her bills and support her business.
Financially, it's been really hard because I've been very scared about how I can pay for the essential things like the electricity, the rent, the gas, and how can I make sure my family doesn't end up in the streets. It has caused me so much stress.
That stress wiped away thanks to her compassionate community. Things are also looking up for one school in the Bronx. Donations are pouring in for a community garden on JFK High School's campus after someone broke into the shed and stole over $2,000 worth of power tools. A science teacher, Danny Steiner, started this GoFundMe hoping to replace some of those items. On a positive note, it's working.
I kind of was in disbelief. I said, oh my goodness, see what happened and try to fix it. Got a lot of support, even strangers donated. So it's very uplifting, change the spirit, move ahead.
Good for them. And it's about that time of year when decisions are pouring in for college-bound students. And we've got even more great news from another high school, this time in New Jersey.
I got into bed. Clifton High School seniors Ashley Hernandez and Miriam Moufley, best friends since the 6th grade. Learning they got into, well, a few fairly decent colleges. Hernandez was accepted at Harvard, Yale, University of Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, Brown, Princeton, Columbia, and a slew of others. Moufley got into Harvard, University of Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, and a long list of others.
We've come to realize throughout this entire application process and acceptance and just college decision process that I am more of a happy screamer. Miriam is more of a happy crier.
Yeah, especially this past year, it sure can feel like the world is headed down the proverbial toilet sometimes, and it's not easy to have hope for the future. So as an antidote, I want you to meet a few Jersey kids I met this week.
Harvard shirt on. Yeah. I guess you made a decision. I guess you made a decision.
First up at Fairlawn High School, I met senior Hakeem Alumatamalori Kobiyawu, known as Tammy for short. Tammy was warming up for track practice. He's pulled off the accomplishment of getting accepted to 5 Ivy League schools: Yale, Cornell, Columbia, Princeton, and Harvard. He also got into MIT and about 8 other schools.
It's kind of this thing that I've always been working towards, but I never thought that it would kind of actually happen. So it's just been a lot to process and a lot to take in, and I don't know, it's just been awesome the last few days.
Mom is from London. She's a PhD. His dad's from Nigeria, where he works in IT. The experience of using technology to stay in touch with his dad has made him want to explore a career in artificial intelligence.
And it's awesome seeing how tech it's been able to bring my father and I closer together. So I kind of want to, try to use AI or augmented reality to kind of do that for other humans as well.
Then my class of 21 tour took me, virtually anyway, to Clifton, where I met Mufle and Hernandez. Mufle's parents are immigrants from Jordan and Palestine. Hernandez's are from Guatemala and Costa Rica. Both will be first-generation college students.
Growing up in America, you're kind of brought up thinking like, oh my God, the Ivy League, like these are the top colleges. But my parents weren't as familiar.
But once the accolades from teachers and principals and the news media started pouring in, they grasped what these two friends had pulled off.
They finally recognized wow, Mary, what did you actually do? And I'm like, yeah, we kind of got accepted into Harvard.
Neither have decided yet, but both are leaning towards joining Kobiahu at Harvard. Someone once saying the kids are all right. It gives you a little glimmer of hope that the world's going to be in pretty good hands after all. I'm Brian Donahue. That's Positively New Jersey.